Hey guys, today we're going to be making the Weeping Willow square for the Vibrant Vintage Crochet Along Reboot 2018, and I'm going to be using Shape Just Soft Fun in number 2620, and I'm using a size 4.5mm hook. Alright, so let's get started. Okay, so first we're going to make a slip knot. Put it on the hook and chain 3. And you can chain 4 if you prefer, but I like to chain 3 to make the center tight enough. So go ahead and make a slip knot in the first chain on the hook to make your ring. And then find the center of your ring, and in there we're going to do a beginning treble, which you can chain 4 or however you prefer to do your first treble of your round. But this is a US treble. So I'm going to make, so it's taller than a regular DC. I'm going to make a single crochet and then chain 2. And that's going to be my beginning treble stitch. And I'll show you guys how I make this look more like a real treble when I come back around to join. So next we're going to make 19 trebles in our ring. So it's quite a few stitches. So if you wanted to go ahead and chain 4 because you find it easier, then you can go ahead and do that. All right, so now I have my beginning treble and then 19 trebles to make 20 stitches altogether. And I've tightened the yarn tail to close the center because I worked over the yarn tail when I was making my stitches. So now the center is quite closed, and I'm ready to join my round. So I'm going to find the front loop of this chain stitch, the top chain stitch of my beginning treble, and that's what I'm going to grab before I put my hook to the back. So I only have, so basically you're grabbing both of the back loops of the chain. I'm still going to work over my tail, so I'm going to bring that up and go ahead and make a slip stitch, but loosely, to allow that slip stitch to lay over your joining stitch. And so now your single crochet of your beginning treble looks like the bottom of the real treble, and then you've got the middle part, and then the top, the chain, the slip stitch looks just like these other V's. So that's how you get your beginning treble to look more like a real treble whenever you join your round. And what makes it even look more like a real treble is when you work into the next stitch. So don't work into that joining stitch, work into the next stitch. So we're going to start round 2, and into the next stitch I'm going to make a 2 treble cluster. So I'm going to make my beginning treble, my single crochet, chain 2, and then go ahead and make a regular treble in that same stitch, and that's going to be my beginning 2 TR cluster. And when you come around to join, you're going to join in the regular treble and just leave that beginning treble unworked. All right, so now I'm going to chain 2, and then in all the stitches around I'm going to work a 2 treble cluster, and I'll show you it in the slowed down in just a second, and then chain 2. Okay, so here's how you make a 2 treble cluster. Go ahead and wrap twice and make sure that your wrap is not loose. Make sure it's not like you're not out here. Make sure you're closer to the beginning of your hook, and then insert your hook front to back, yarn over and pull up a loop, just like you're working a treble here, but leave your last loop on your hook. Okay, and then go ahead and yarn over twice again, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, and draw through 2 loops on your hook twice, leaving a loop behind. Again, so now you've got 3 loops on your hook, and you're going to yarn over and draw your yarn through all 3 loops, and now you've got a 2 treble cluster. Chain 2, and that's our repeat. Okay, so now I'm ready to join my round, and I'm going to put my final chain 2 on my hook, and then remember we work into the regular treble, not into the beginning treble, because the regular treble is like the top of our beginning 2 tiara cluster. So I'm going to grab the front 2 bars, kind of like go in through the top and grab the front 2 bars of the treble, and then go ahead and make my slip stitch. All right, and now we're going to work round 3 starting in this chain space. So since I have a chain 2 here and I'm just about to put a single crochet, I would like to kind of start in the center of this chain 2 space. So I'm going to slip stitch into the first chain. Okay, not too tightly or anything. And then we're going to go ahead and start with our single. And then chain 2, single crochet in the next chain space. And that is just such an easy round that I'll be right back as soon as I finish. I'm ready to join my round here. I've got my chain 2 on the hook already, and I'm at my very first single. So I'm going to slip stitch in that first single, nice and loosely. And now I'm going to work another round of chains. So for round 4, I want to slip stitch into the first chain, just like with last time, loosely so it lies over the top, and then single crochet in that chain space. Now we're going to start with a chain 4, and then single crochet in the next chain space, chain 3, single, chain 3, single, and this is going to go 4 times with a chain 3 and then single crochet in the next chain space. And that is going to be our repeat that we're going to work 4 times total to go around and kind of make our circle into a square. All right, I'm ready to join my round here. So I've got chain 3 on the hook now, and I'm going to slip stitch in my first single crochet. And now we're ready to make our squaring off round. So I'm going to slip stitch in the first 2 chains. So I'm at the center of my chain space. Then go ahead and make a beginning DC, which is a single crochet, chain 1. That's your first DC. And then chain 3. All right, and that's going to be our chain 3 as our corner. 3 double crochet in the same chain space. Okay, 3 half double crochet in the next chain space. 3 single crochet in the next chain space. And now you're going to make a single crochet in the center single. So you're going to make a single crochet in that stitch. And that's going to be your center stitch there. Now you can just finish off the side with 3 singles in the next chain space, 3 half doubles in the next chain space, and then your corner, which is 3 double crochet, chain 3, and 3 double crochet. And that is your repeat. So you're going to jump straight into 3 half doubles, and don't forget that center single crochet. That's going to help your stitch count be correct on the next round. So I'll be back when I'm about to join the round. Okay, so I've just worked my final 3 half double crochets, and now I'm ready to complete my first corner. So I just wanted to kind of show you guys how I do that before I went ahead and did it. So these are the slip stitches from the beginning of the round. So I'm going to just work over all of that with my final 2 double crochets. And then I'm ready to join my round. So now my corner is complete, except it's just not joined yet. So our beginning DC was the single crochet and the chain 1. So that chain 1 is where we're going to join, and we're going to leave the 3 chains as the corner just left alone. So I'm going to make sure I grab the front loop of the chain, and then go ahead and insert my hook into the chain space and make my slip stitch. All right, and make sure the slip stitch lays flat over your joining stitch. And now your round is complete. 3 single crochets in the corner. And then just go ahead and make single crochet in all of the stitches to the next corner. And whenever you're working with your half doubles, just be careful that you get 3 stitches there because it can look a little weird. But this is the top of the half double. So it looks like this chain part might be the top of the first one, but this little piece right here is the top of the stitch. So just be careful when you're working your half doubles that you get your 3 single crochets across the top of them. Other than that, it should be smooth sailing. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys see how this looks so far, but then I'm going to come back when I'm about to finish the round. So you've got 3 singles in the corner and then single crochet and all the stitches across to the next corner, and that's your repeat. All right, I'll be right back when I'm about to join the round. All right guys, so the round is done now, and I just need to join with a slip stitch in my first single crochet. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. And then I'm going to cut the yarn and show you how I weave in the tail so that I don't have any tails to weave in when I'm done with everything. And the first tail, of course, we already worked over it, so that's totally gone. And you can't see that tail that I've worked over it, and that thing's not going to come out. So that's a really good way to not have to weave ends when you're finished with your project. So how I weave my tail is I've got my slip stitch over my single crochet, and I go ahead and insert my hook from back to front through the stitch to the left of the joining stitch. Grab my yarn and pull it to the back. Okay, so now my yarn tail's at the back, and that slip stitch is still laying flat over the joining stitch. It acts like the top of that single. So whenever you join, you're just going to work into that single, and you're not going to be able to tell whenever you're joining your squares. Okay, so now we're going to insert our hook back to front through the back loop only of the stitch to the right of the joining stitch. Grab the tail and pull it to the back again. And now we're just going to bury the tail by doing that same maneuver all the way until your tail is completely buried. So back to front through back loop only of the next stitch, grab the tail, pull it to the back. Next stitch, back to front, back loop only, all the way until the tail is buried. And that's how I bury my yarn tails and don't have to weave ends whenever the blanket's finished and you have a million ends to weave. All right, so I just do that until it's all the way woven in, and you can see that it pretty much disappears. There it is right there. But once you work your next round or your joining, it's going to be encased. If I put my hook through there, the tail is going to be encased in that, and so it won't. And sometimes I even leave this loose and then work over it the opposite way, but you don't have to. It's not. I would say it's not going to come out, even if you don't do that. All right, so that's our square. Nice, pretty little square reminiscent of Weeping Willow with the open work here. And I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time. Happy crafting, y'all.